Hello there folks, this is TIJ and welcome to Football Manager 2019 Team Guide. Today is the turn of Burnley, a club who are now in the Europa League and finished 7th in last year's Premier League. But this time, in this video today, in this Team Guide, we're going to look at Burnley's squad, the transfers they've brought in, their dynamics, training tactics, and some players you could bring in to bolster the squad. So let's get straight into it, shall we? Now, Burnley have definitely got a good squad. There's some definite players in there that you think, these are very good players, like Stephen Defoe, Goodmanson. Nick Pope obviously being called up for England in the World Cup last year. But the likes of Sam Boakes, Ashley Barnes, Matej Vydra are all solid players. And Robbie Brady as well, a very technical left winger. But let's have a look at the players that Burnley brought in over the summer. Now, they only brought in 3 players over the summer and didn't spend as much as other Premier League clubs. The first one being Joe Hart. Now, I think this is a very good sign. You know, he's $3.5 million. And I do think that Joe Hart's been very badly treated at Man City. So I hope in real life he finds a little bit of security and, consistency, that's the one, at Burnley. And he's a very good signing, but the only thing that does concern me, you've got 2 other very good goalkeepers in there as well. So I think you're very much going to have to make your pick. That'll obviously be up to you, but you've got possibly, apart from Pickford, the best 3 English goalkeepers in the squad. And I feel like you're going to have to pick the one that you want the most, and then the other 2 will suffer. And it seems a bit of a shame to let Joe Hart do that, so I reckon it'll probably be Pope and Hart, or Heaton and Hart. But I think either Heaton or Pope will have to miss out. They've also brought in Matej Vydra from Derby County. Now, he's usually a championship specialist, I'd say, Vydra. He's been in the championship for a number of years, all the way from 2012 to 13. He went back on loan to Watford in the championship and had a stormer. And also had a stormer last year for Derby. But in the Premier League, he's never really done it to some extent. I mean, you could argue he's never been given the chance, apart from that one season with West Brom. But he's got some decent stats. Will he be able to overthrow Chris Wood, Vokes and Barnes up front? Potentially, but his current ability is suggesting he's a leading player for most championship sides and possibly might not be able to get into that first team. Finally, Burnley have signed Ben Gibson. I think this one's been on the cards for a long time for Ben Gibson to leave Borough, and with their relegation from the Premier League, that kind of sped things up. Ben Gibson, a very good centre-back. He's got some solid stats in terms of mental, physical and technical ability. He's more of a ball-playing defender, but if you look at the reports, he's pretty similar to the likes of Ben Mee, Tarkowski and Kevin Long. And I think you've got Tarkowski, Ben Mee and Ben Gibson who will probably rotate a little bit. He's got some good timing, potentially to be a good Premier League central defender in the future, even though he's already a decent player at the age of 25. But he's got room to improve and he's been signed as a key player for them. So that looks very exciting to me. Next, let's have a look at dynamics on this club. Now, that looks very good to me. There's a hell of a lot of influential players and highly influential players. It's a good squad atmosphere, good dressing move atmosphere at Burnley. And there's 3 very good team leaders. Tom Heaton, Ben Mee and Jack Cork. Now, Heaton and Mee have been at the club for a long time. Heaton and Mee, captain and vice-captain. Keep thinking that it's actually me, not Ben Mee, as in, me. Mr. Jones, TIJ, but let's gloss over that. But Ben Mee and Jack Cook both approaching the peaks of their careers, and there's a good spread of players. Heaton's a little bit older, but still 31. He's got plenty of time to go yet. We've got players from all over the park in that team leader and highly influential spot. You've got defenders and midfielders in that team leader spot. You've got attackers and midfielders, and apart from Adam Leskins, or however you pronounce his name, everybody's very much influential, and with him on the transfer list, that will change fairly shortly now. There's a few players like Ben Gibson and Matej Vydra who's just joined the club who have struggled to get into that core social group. But I think fairly soon you'll be able to get that social group really knitted together. And I think that Burnley is similar to Bournemouth in that they've got a very tight-knitted lifestyle. Not lifestyle, but club style. And there's no unhappy players at the club. And I think you've got very good things there. Now, crucial for Burnley is that Burnley are in this year's UEFA Europa League. I know they got rock knocked out in real life. But if you start the game where I have on the 30th of July, you'll actually start against Hibernian. I don't know if that's going to be the same for every save, but you'll certainly play in the Europa League second qualifying round best placed. You'll have to play 2 more qualifying rounds and then you'll get into, it looks like you'll get into the 4th qualifying round, and then after that you will get into the group stage. It's going to be quite a tricky one, but you might be able to get into that group stage. Let's see if we can find ourselves on here. England, there we go, 2nd qualifying round. Chelsea and Arsenal in the group stage, but it's very encouraging to see Chris Wood already on the top of that average rating so far. But a few players I think you could bring into Burnley. We'll have a look at the shortlist now. Moussa Sissoko, first off, we look at the team report and look at, let's have a look at tactics first. Let's not get ahead of ourselves too far yet. We've gone with Route 1 football for Burnley. I feel like this could be a good one to go for. With Nick Pope in goal, Loughton, Tarkowski, Mee and Taylor at the back. I feel like it's a solid back 4. Goodmanson, Defoe, Hendrick and Brady making a flat four in the midfield, and then Barnes and Wood up front. That looks very solid to me. There's a lot of depth in that squad as well. Aaron Leonard can play on the right. We've got Vidra who can play up front. Ben Gibson and Longer can play at the back. Vokes can also play up front. And of course, you also got Tom Heaton, who is out for a few days, but that won't make too much difference. Joe Hart and Ashley Westwood, who can play in the team. But if you look, most of the players who are of the best ability, possibly apart from Jack Cork, you could put him in for Hendrick, possibly. Most of the players of a good ability in their position and the best ability in their position are playing in this team. I think that's a solid team to me. Fairly direct passing, no mucking about, and you've got a bit of depth on that wing, and possibly you can push the players up to being a 4-4-2-4, possibly. But Burnley lends itself to a bit more of defensive play, so you might bring those players back. And the only reason Goodmanson is actually an inverted wing is because he likes doing that, and I think, why not? We may as well go for that. Right, now we can't get ahead of ourselves. Let's have a look what players you could bring into the club. If you look at the shortlist, there's 5 players on this shortlist, and 3 of them are centre-backs, because if you look at the centre-backs, there's only 4 natural centre-backs in the squad. But Kevin Long probably isn't going to play too much, but you've got Gibson, me, and Tarkowski. And you've got a few players on this shortlist that you could potentially bring in. You've firstly got Yunus Kabul, who's transfer listed for Watford. I feel like he's got a bit of, well, he's got a lot of experience. He's played for Watford, Sunderland, Tottenham, and Portsmouth, all in the Premier League. And he's got a lot of ability, has Yunus Kabul. Fair enough, he's not going to last that long, but he's transfer listed, an asking price of 1.7 million. I feel like he might bolster the defence a little bit, a bit of experience at the back, and it might be worth it. And as well, just as a bench warmer, really, he's going to be a very good bench warmer for you. Who else have we also got? We've also got Tyus Browning, who's transfer listed at Everton. He's 675,000. He's really a right back, but he looks quite decent in the middle of defence. And I thought, you know what? He adds to the contingent of English players at Burnley, and his physical stats look pretty good. His mental stats look good. Some of his technical stats leave a little bit to be desired, but in terms of his mental stats that are important for being a centre-back, he looks very, very good. And for a cheap, really no-risk price, I think you can say. Mangala's the most expensive one you can go for. Now, he's 13.5 million his asking price. You've got a transfer budget of 15.5, so this will very much use all of it up. For his bravery, jumping reach, pretty much his physical stats are very good and might bolster the defence a lot. But Mangala's going to be one of these you've got to play, or else he's going to be very, very unhappy. But he's operating at a very good Premier League level, and apparently can improve in the future, amazingly, at the age of 27. But he's a very strong player, and that could get to your advantage. We've also got a bit of a lack of depth on the right wing. But next up, we've gone with Danny Drinkwater, which is someone I've looked at a lot of my team guides now. And I think I will with every other team guide. He's an absolute steal from Chelsea. He's transfer listed at the start of the game, asking price of 4 million. I'm not sure why he's transfer listed. He joined the club for 27 million. And he's a very, very solid player, he's Danny Drinkwater. So you've got a bit of depth in that midfield. You've got 4 solid players, but potentially you might want someone, another English player who, to be fair, I think Drinkwater will get into that squad every day of the week as a box-to-box or deep-line playmaker. So very much fix him with either of those positions there, and he's certainly a steal at £4 million. We've also got Musa Sissoko, who can play on that right wing. He is only going to cost you £8 million because he is transfer listed. He's got a solid reputation in the Premier League with lots of experience with Newcastle and then Tottenham. And he's a very good player. Tottenham maybe made a mistake in signing him because they haven't really played him too much in terms of the 30 million they paid for him. It looks like they want to cash in on him now, and 8 million be just about the right amount. And I think he'd fit in on that right wing. If we look at the squad depth, there's not really much depth on that right wing. You've got Aaron Lennon, Jonathan Walters, but them two are getting older a lot. Well, they're getting on, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And Sissoko's 28, so fits in perfectly and would do very, very well. But if we look at the under-23s and the under-18s, we've got a few players that could fit in the future. You've got Jimmy Dunn at centre-back. He's on loan at Hart, joined Burnley a few years ago from Manchester United, and could come in the future at centre-back. Again, he looks like a very good player in terms of his potential. We've also got Dwight McNeil, who's a left winger. He's been at Burnley all of his career, and he looks like a solid player. So does Adam Bruce, Tinashe Chakwana at right wing. Daniel Agai, I think he used to be a Swansea player. No, I'm making that up. He's been at Burnley for a long time in his career. He was on loan at Walsall last year. He looks like very much a League One player at the moment. But he's only 21 years of age. A bit of a late bloomer, if you like. And a few years down the line, he could be a solid backup player for you. But if we look at the under-18s, again, you've got the likes of Ed Cook, Harry Allen. There's some solid players in this Burnley squad. And I think that it would be good to try and keep up that solid English contingent to the squad. There's a lot of English players in this squad. Again, as you can see, there's a hell of a lot of English players and Irish as well. But it's not that important, but I'm just saying that it'd be nice to keep that up. As there aren't really many teams in the Premier League that do that anymore. But just a quick look at training. I'm not particularly looking at training itself, but just looking at the mental ability of players, see what the work rate's like. Again, work rate's pretty good in this squad. Determination's pretty good as well. Matej Vigi might have a problem with. Possibly Tom Heaton, but his determination makes up for it. But a lot of players with good work rates, the likes of Jack Cork, Ashley Barnes and Aaron Lennon. And I think that Burnley are an interesting side to start with. They're very much on the up in the Premier League. And you've also got the Europa League to contend with, however far you get into that. Let me down in the comments if you've got any suggestions for players or whatever for Burnley, anything relating to Burnley really. And let me know how you get on in your save in terms of the Europa League and the league itself. And let me know down in the comments if you've got any suggestions for any more players to buy. But apart from that, folks, hope you've enjoyed and found this video effective in the squad transfers, dynamics and tactics. But until the next time, folks, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.